What up? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview in the anticipation of the new film Faith-Based, which arrives in select theaters and on digital and on VOD starting October 9th. I'm here talking with the two lead stars, Luke Barnett and Tanner Thomason, and the director, Vincent Masciale. How you doing?
Rama,
good.
Vincent,
Oh, man.
thank
Good to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on the film. Now, I watched it recently, and you are correct. Faith-based movies do make a ton of money. I think it's partly because my theory is because Christians want to spread the word, want to spread the message. So they're really
Sure.
gung ho about, come on, go support this movie and whatnot. So can you guys talk about the inspiration behind your film Faith-Based, and did you guys receive any backlash from the makers of God's Not Dead and Fireproof?
Wow.
Not yet. We haven't gotten backlash from them personally yet.
So
Well, the idea kind of stemmed. We made a movie in 2016 called Fear Inc. that I wrote, Vince directed, Tanner was a producer on, and that movie was very exciting and did well for us in the festival world. And we thought that all of a sudden, a year later, we were going to be creating kind of the next Game of Thrones or some sort of massive franchise, like every independent filmmaker that goes to a festival immediately gets, right? And a couple years in, that just hadn't happened. And so at one point, I joked with Vince. I said, you see all these Kirk Cameron movies that are making $30 million, even though they're terrible. We should just go make a bad Christian movie with Kirk Cameron and then take that $30 million and make, 30 of our movies. And that joke eventually found its way to a more serious idea. And I don't know, a year and a half later, this is what we're talking about with you.
Vincent, did you do some shadowing around Christian churches? Because you capture some of those moments, especially the congregation, really correctly.
We grew up in this world, so it wasn't too far of a stretch to figure out how to capture that on camera. But we actually shot the church scenes in a church that I've been a part of. That is a place in Los Angeles in the Valley that people go, and talk and sing about Jesus. So it wasn't, we've been a part of a few of them and have seen, these places, these churches some of them try to be a little too cool for school. So we thought, well, this is a funny joke to sort of lean into some of those moments with the very fancy French press coffee and the, overly, emo tattooed worship leader, stuff like that is all pulled from things we've seen.
Tanner, Luke, you guys are longtime friends. Was this your first collaboration together? And why did you guys decide to use your own names for your characters?
Oh boy, Rama, we don't know. Time will tell if that was smart or not to use our own name. The three of us have been friends for a long time. We've collaborated on lots of different things, from like short comedy videos and to like ideas for like bigger things that we've wanted to do.
Yeah, right. I think it was, the idea originally, we were gonna shoot this movie on our phones for literally no money with just our friends. And I wasn't even going to write a script. We were basically going to make an outline and then improvise it. And so my first thought there was to pull Tanner into this, and obviously being real life close friends. If we're just going to improv being friends, that's the way to go. And so I think the initial idea was, this is how we're going to do this. And then once things started to kind of organically grow, and then all of a sudden there was a script and there was real cameras and there was Jason Alexander, we just kind of kept that core idea the same. So even though those things got bigger, we still thought it would work really well to have Tanner and I kind of play heightened versions of ourselves in hopes that chemistry worked.
Rama, I think the real answer there is this is actually a true story, and that's really Luke and Tanner that you're seeing.
Well, that's good, because I have a swimming pool for you to clean. I'm just kidding.
I'm very cheap.
Speaking of names, since you mentioned Jason, there are some who's in this movie: Margaret Cho, David Koechner, Jason Alexander, and of course Lance Reddick from those John Wick movies. Hello, I think it's awesome when big stars lend their time for independent projects such as this. How did you guys get them on board?
Oh man, it's a combination of begging and and, you know, sending them a project that you're passionate about mixed with pulling some of your talented friends together and putting this package together and sending it off and, you know, saying a few prayers and hoping that they respond. You know, on a movie like this, you don't have a lot of money to work with. So you're really leaning on, you know, the story and the connections you have. And Lance Reddick was the first sort of big actor to come on that trusted us, even though, you know, it's jury's still out on if that was a good decision for him or not. But for us, it was great because, you know, when you start approaching other actors about your movie and you've never heard of the three of us, but you certainly have heard of Lance Reddick, it becomes more interesting to talk about and to potentially do it. So we owe a lot to him. You know, he's an executive producer on the movie. And I think at the end of the day, everyone was just excited to work on this project. So we got really, really lucky.
I can also say, you know, just from talking to a lot of actors and agents and managers and stuff, it's like big name actors, they do get offered a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is very similar. So an actor like Lance Reddick, for example, who has played a cop 1,000 times and has been in a lot of big budget crime thrillers and stuff like that, Lance doesn't need or want to play a cop in a low budget crime thriller. So finding, you know, stories and specifically roles that they maybe haven't played or they're not getting offered that often goes a long way, because so many of these higher profile actors are kind of getting offered the same thing over and over again. So faith-based, in a weird way, it is pretty outside the box in terms of like the story is hopefully somewhat original and it's told in an interesting way. And I think that was very different than what any of these actors had been getting offered, at least in the low budget indie space.
By the way, I was gonna say that the budget on your green screen suits, man, that looked like a lot more than what James Cameron did for his Avatar movies.
Hey, Rama, you've got the green screen right there. You're ready to go, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll throw you a suit, man.
All four of us should just pitch James Cameron on which one can we get in? Avatar 4, 5? Which one has he not started shooting yet?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he's gonna be tired by like 9, right? And then we can just step in.
Exactly. I gotta ask about that silly, awesome song in this movie about the one with the 8-foot cross hanging over me and it can crush me to death. Who wrote that song and where can I download it on Spotify?
Oh man.
Well, funny enough, we are releasing a music video for it next week, and we are going to put it on Spotify once the movie comes out. But my brother-in-law, I have to give all the credit in the world to for that. My brother-in-law is a musician and a comedian. He's also part of literally my favorite comedy troupe in LA. It's a comedy music troupe called Lost Moon Radio, and I went to him maybe a month before we started shooting, and originally we were just going to kind of write a cheesy praise and worship song. And I said to him, you know, what if you wrote a original praise and worship song that starts off, you kind of wonder, it feels normal and it feels like it could be just a praise and worship song at this church, but I don't know, 30 seconds in, it kind of starts to take a turn where you start to wonder, what is this guy actually singing about? And Ryan, I don't know, a week later sent us 3 tracks on his phone, just him and an acoustic guitar, and all 3 of them we could have used. They were all that funny. But we went with Hung Across, and it's funny because I can't speak for the other guys, but it's probably my favorite part of the movie, or definitely one of them. And it's something that everybody comments on, and I'm just like so lucky that he did that. So Ryan Harrison. Ryan Harrison.
There you go. Shout out to Ryan. So lastly, you guys, you know, what resonates with me is this is a friendship movie, but also what do you guys want the audience to take away from the themes? Like, because it also has that entrepreneurial spirit, you know, vibe to it. What do you guys want the audience to take away from faith-based?
I think at the end of the day, I know for me, you know, it's nice to work on a project that people seem to be responding positively to and having a good time watching it. And I think, you know, we've got some universal themes in the movie. I know we're saying we're making fun of faith-based films and religion, but at the end of the day, that's not really the point of the movie. We're trying to tell a story about friendship and finding your purpose in life. and telling some fun jokes and having, you know, what's hopefully a hopeful ending. And in, you know, a time where everything that's coming out is dark and moody, it's nice to have a project that just kind of makes you laugh and hopefully makes you feel good at the end.
Oh wow. There's the stories. I don't know. There's in the movie. There's like, you know, nobody's perfect, and the guys each sort of make mistakes, and then they hash it out, and good things happen as a result of it. And like that's like a big thing that I would hope everyone obviously gets. But the other thing for me is like I think this movie is unique when you think about like, oh, the million crime thrillers out there, or all the movies that we've seen that are kind of so similar. And the reason that we're getting to talk to people like you, and the reason that people are responding to things like the Huge Cross song, is because they're really specific. And so a lot of times I feel like people have ideas for things they want to make, and then they go, oh, nobody's going to like that except for me. And I would just say to those people, like, this movie is a testament to making something that is specific to you. And so I would just say to those people, like, whether it's the song or the painting or the movie or the short film or the book or the play or whatever it is, like, if you have something that you like a lot that is specific to you, then I say you have to make it.
For me, I mean, there's a lot of, like Vince said, there's a lot of themes in the movie that I think people hopefully can kind of resonate with, or we were kind of intentional about having them in there. But I think one that is kind of in it from start to finish is this idea that we're all in a weird way seeking out community. Like I don't really go to church very often anymore, but when I go, I don't know, every now and again, I'll go to Vince's church where we shot the church scenes, and I will kind of look around and be like, oh man, the community aspect is fantastic. It's just like having this sort of built-in group of people that are all there to help you if you need it, or just to have a laugh. And I think a lot of people that are regulars at bars, and I should note, Tanner and I worked at that bar that we shot in for, you know, many years, has kind of a similar thing where you got a lot of bar regulars who know that if they walk into that bar any day of the week, someone, even if it's the bartender, is going to know their name. And so they've got this kind of built-in community. And so in a weird way, I know we basically say it in the movie that these two groups are very similar in their own way because of community. But I think everybody's kind of searching for that. And I hope that like that's something that people take from this movie as important and can kind of like find their own community, whether it's through this movie or nothing to do with this movie.
For my fans at home, everybody go watch Faith Base in select theaters and on digital and on VOD starting October 9th. Vincent, Tanner, Luke, thank you so much for talking to me, and congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Rama,
Thank you so much for having us.